Yes, good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these Knowledge Seekers programs. As you are aware, today is an unusual time for us to broadcast any Knowledge Seekers, but we have set ourselves the goal to change the world through the introduction and release of what we call systems which can deliver energy freely without any cost. This technology has been tried and tested in so many ways. Many people have tried to achieve this goal. Keshe Foundation, through introduction of new materials and new systems, has managed to achieve the dream of humanity. We set out today that we take this unit in US to the President of the United States, to the seat of the House of a Nation, that with it we can change the course for humanity. It's not an easy task to change the course of millions of years, and understanding that energy on its own employs hundreds of millions of people around the world. From a little electric shop, to the transmission lines, to the power stations, to the mines which produce coal and gas and oil fields, the heavy investment in nuclear industry in the past 30, 50 years, all has been to one target: to make energy for man and make it available that the nations can grow industrialists. The industrialization has begun on the back of the use of the water centuries ago, at least a couple of hundred years ago plus. And now we have come to the cycle of completing this, at least part of the need of the man in this process. It's been our dream to have energy and have it in abundance, have it when we need it, where we need it. In the past, we went to the woods and we looked for the dry wood to burn, to heat up, and then to cook. And sometimes create a small amount of light. We progressed into burning fuel, and then we have seen the work of people like Tesla and Edison in allowing us to be able to transmit it. Transmission of power has been the key process. And if you have seen in many wars in recent past decades, the first thing the governments attack is the power stations. The first thing governments attack in their attacking, paralyzing a nation, is attacking the water supplies. We've seen it in Gaza, how the Israelis effectively destroyed the only power station. We've seen it in many times in the false wars of the past few decades. We saw it in Libya, we saw it in Syria, we saw it in Yugoslavia, how effectively the power stations were taken out to paralyze a nation to submission. With this technology, with what we are transferring to the White House, we take this out of the hand of the governments and we give the power to the people. In a very short time, now that the key is unraveled, power stations, nuclear power stations, oil and gas power stations all become history, become part of the history of man. But we needed it to progress to where we are. Nothing has been wrong. It's been part of the evolution of science. Today, we deliver not only to the White House, but the White House is symbolic. We deliver to humanity the first energy system, which needs no fuel. It taps in the universal energy. It has the facility to do it. You have, as Keshe Foundation supporters, built it, you understand it, you know it. The ganses, the nano layers, the matter states, all work together. It's a harmonization of three different field forces to absorb the energy from the universal energy. A lot of you think it's the nanomaterial or the coil or the GaNs. In fact, these three layers are a porthole between the universal energy and the matter state energy which we have built our systems around. Be it a cooker, be it a freezer, be it a hair dryer, be it the systems to run operational computers. What we have done with this technology, we have opened the porthole into the universal energy. A lot of you did not see this and cannot understand it. But in fact, the three systems we have built, the layering, what you call superconductors, the ganses, the matter states, this is a transmission line between two matters, in between two states of energy. This is what is important to us, and we have to understand what is to be delivered. The GaNs material and the nano layer are the intermediary. If you stand on the side of the universal energy side, which is the GaN side, you have access, you're absorbing energy from the universe. If you stand on the copper side inside the system, you are releasing energy to the weaker matter on the other side of the wall. If you look at it, it's three layers on either side. And the nano material coating creates that transition point. It's the intermediary. It's the porthole for the conversion of the universal energy into the matter state. So now we understand what we have created, maybe for the first time. We have managed to create a transformer, transferring the energy of the universe to the need of the man, be it 110, 220, be it as it is DC, AC. It is important for us to understand what we are doing, that there's not a magic. Nobody can, and nobody can stop a man to use this. It's the same way you have to look. You have the power, the energy of the universe. You have the top layer of the man. You have the middle layer of the skin of the man, and then you have the inner skin. It's the same process. We have done nothing new, but we have replicated the work of the universe. It does the same thing in your stomach for transfer of the energy of the food into your lymph. It's the same process as your lung. You take the matter from outside with energy through two layers on the inside with one layer on the other side. You create a transformer. This is what we've done. This is why this looks so strange. Some of you who understood this will start using it effectively in what you need to create. Making these systems is like making different organs of the body of the man. Each one will do its own job. In the new system which we are developing, which is the, in a way, the next generation of what you see, the system will become like a heartbeat. It becomes the body of the man. It will possess its own heartbeat, hopefully, and in a way it sustains its own life. This is the process we are looking at. This is the structure which is to come. The follow-up, hopefully the Innovation Center and the groups who are working in 2 or 3 countries will deliver this to us in the next few days. What this means, we create a system with a soul. We create a system with a pulsation. And that pulsation allows to create a difference energy level between the lowest and the highest. And it creates a gap in the layers of the plasma of the GaNs that allows the energy to enter. Now you understand maybe in more detail what this process is doing. We are not creating a, what you like to call over unity, or we are not creating a free energy. We have created, we have understood the work you have done for past 2 years. A lot of you have done the work but have not made a connection. Is that now we have made the transformer. A nano layer, a GaNs, which is connected directly in the same matter state as the matter inside, which is the copper, is very much like an amplifier, or reduction in the speed or the strength of the fields. Inside out or outside in. Do we want to reduce it or do we want to increase it? So if there is somebody's microphone open. So if you understand.
Excuse me, Mr. Keshe, it's me, Rick. I had a picture that just came in today from NASA. It's of Jupiter. And as you're speaking, it just reflects to me that this seems exactly what you're talking about in reference to the universe. And this picture is of the south pole of Jupiter, and the outer rings we see are the equator of Jupiter. And you can see the eye of Jupiter on the equator there. And it almost looks like that symbol of the snake eating its tail, I thought. And we have the eye in the middle and all the layers in between, which is very similar to the MagGrav unit and the layering of the nanomaterials and so on. And you mentioned pulsation. There's a pulsation with the planet Jupiter. It's got a definite pulse that actually Nikola Tesla was the first person to receive signals from Jupiter and state that he thought it might have been some other civilization or something initially. But it's got a pulsation, it's got a pulse, just like you were speaking of, so I couldn't resist. What do you think about this image?
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Anything which has a dynamic plasma has to have a pulsation. Dynamism dictates pulse. It has to release the energy which has released internally to outside. And it cannot expand because of its central gravitational field holds it together. So it opens up to release the field and closes. And in that process receives what it needs to. That creates the pulsation. In a way, what we call in our teachings, it creates gravitational magnetic field or MagGrav positioning in respect to the other fields within the structure that it allows. It's like literally if you boil the water, you see the bubbles at the top just appear and burst. This is the same thing as pulsation. The energy inside opens up. Plasma is spherical, so it opens up to release the energy, and because the energy constant release, it creates a constant regular release of the energy to outside. We call it the pulsation, and this pulsation increases the volume, reduces the volume, so it has a physical dimension and absorption and observation of fields, and in so many ways when we call the field is magnetic and gravitational. So what we can see is, for the first time, we have managed to achieve this. But because the system is self-sufficient, self-supplying energy from the universe, we see it as a free energy. It's not free, it's a converter. The stacker unit is a converter. What we were looking for was a pulsation to create it, and 60 Hertz is the pulsation which needs to be created. But now we have found a new way to create a field impulse. If we succeed, which I hope our innovation teams in the background are working on it, they'll complete it, is a system very much miniaturized. Because now you understand in a very simple way, kilowatts and megawatts will run on the back of the nano layers. It's a superconductor, super resistor. But because the way we develop this technology, that we use the copper to make its own nano, and from its own nano, we put a GaNs on it, the system is very smooth. In the future, as we see in the pictures Rick just showed us, when people will take a very close picture of the nano layers working in this system and what we call energy, you will find it has a pulse, it moves, it vibrates. It is not as static as you think. So what we come up with today is a unit that will have the properties of the universal condition. It absorbs energy, and as you demand it, it delivers it. 2 kilowatt, 10 kilowatt, 100 kilowatt is not a problem. It's for us to understand how much we need and take from it as much as we need, because we don't need to store energy anymore. The universe is our battery. The universe is our storage. Once the man understands this, the hunger for energy will disappear in seconds. We are not delivering this unit to the White House to show we achieved. We are delivering the energy unit to the White House to say we are a new nation. we take over our own destiny. We don't need decisions to be made for us, and we do not need to rely on others to dictate. With this energy unit, we give man the freedom. Those who are there to criticize and to say whatever they like, they have to, because for years they've been sitting, and especially in recent past, discrediting. How can they confirm they're wrong? We shut them down with their own action. We are here to start a new nation, and the nation starts today. As I said to the team before, today is the 13th, is the day of the end for those who abused. With energy, as energy has been the line of control of the man, in the next few months, we take control of one nation. We take control of our own destiny. We take control of not to be governed, but to be part of a structure that we look after ourselves in a correct way. There is no need to steal anymore, and there is no need to die of hunger. In the coming days, we show the water units. In the coming days, we show the food unit using the Maghreb system. In the coming days, we show the system that can produce material, and the only thing which is left to bring everything to an end is the control of the emotion of the man and his greed to be better or to be a ruler. In the coming days, I will introduce a new system which brings the balance, the emotion of all the man at the same time across this planet, which means the end of kingship, the end of leadership, equality, not on the level of physicality, equality on the level of emotion, which brings the equality of the physicality. I see with today's move, what Douglas is to deliver to the White House is to bring an end to all the miseries of man and abuse of man in the time to come. If you remember a couple of days ago, for the first time we showed systems which use the plasma as the energy source from this energy system. We showed cores which in conjunction with the coils run each other, which they don't rely on the matter state vibrational electron but the plasmatic. In the coming time, using this in the next few weeks, we show how we can create fields which change the emotion of the man, and we put an end to all the wars. Whatever promised, I have delivered, and this we might do it much faster than you think. The solution is very simple. Once we arrive in Washington tomorrow, I give you the recipe of peace. How you, as people who have worked around the foundation, will come to understand what you've got to do to the next step to start the peace process. We are not fighting anymore. We are dictating the position of our freedom by ourselves. Not to be dictated to, but we decide our own destiny. From next few days, the changes will be very rapid, extremely rapid. We have two choices. With this change, we allow the others to use what we have delivered, trying to gain position and cause the same problem as before, or we take charge of our own destiny as one race, and we write off the governments and national governments and the rest. In that purpose, as I said, as of tomorrow, we start the process of one nation as one leaders. In a way, our gift to the White House or to the American government or the American nation alive is the poison chalice of the end of the greed of the man, and this beginning of a new cycle. I have already asked the people who work in the background with us to start the establishment of the Universal Council. As you know, it's been progressing. We have started the process of what we call the Council, which is a 6-member from each continent. Number of people have applied for the job. Unfortunately, none of you qualify. The time when it's done, We put the banner of the qualification to be the leaders in that council. Not the leaders, but to be the counselors. The next step for us is to rapidly, with this technology, deliver food. In a coming week, we'll start teaching heavily how to produce food that we overcome the hunger. Most of you know it, but now you have the tools to do it. To have a nation, to be able to secure the nation from those who will be losing and they want to gain a position by disruption, we bring the technology to affect the internal structure of the man, which is his emotion. At the same time, this transition time, I have asked people who are well known in the security business to start the establishment of the One Nation police force. We are not looking at the Interpol with all the frauds and everything which goes in it. We are not looking at the national governments. We are setting up the first One Nation police force. We do not need the army. We need the time to control the situation that is done by all the nations at the same time. I have asked the mandate for this police force to be written in a way that no nation is higher than the other and all police forces employed are the same. So we're setting up a structure fully as one nation. We're done with judiciary. There are no judges and there are no juries. The information of the conduct is on open space of the platform of the internet. Anything is done by the what we call enforcement officers of the police of the what we call One Nation will be fully transparent. This way we do with what we've seen, judges being bribed to decide what it is and what is not, and to the benefit of one person or another. As you see, everything has been planned and we start delivering. And the delivery of it was with the energy unit. And as I said, a lot of you should have known this day has come. I told you by July, August, June, July, August, we entered the politics. And now we entered the politics because we have dissolved any politics. There is no need for politics because we work on one structure to be part of the universal community. Today's move is delayed by a few hours. It's to do with physically protecting and doing things for people who are on the move, that they can start and somebody can look after the children that they leave, to free the man from the shackles of the energy, but they don't bring problems to their own family. Douglas is going to start in a few, maybe an hour or two, once he has secured the safety of his children at home. And then he will start the trip. There's been a lot of opposition. I've received a lot of calls. You should have never disclosed the route. We are not afraid of. We are free and will do. None of you getting access to all the tools on that machine which is traveling will never be able to start the system. There is no way. There is a key to it, and this key is only known by a number of people in the Keshe Foundation, and we have kept it tight. It will stay tight. It will not be explained by Douglas or anybody else how it works till we decide. Nothing is important. Every part can be replaced. And then you understand that we are so sure that we change the course of humanity that we are not afraid to put it on the car and taking it. On the other hand, those of you who turn up to be on the route, or you meet in Washington when he arrives, arrangement is getting made in the background through the legal structure and the support team of the Keshe Foundation Security, that the system will be seen or be delivered to the government of the United States. And simultaneously on that point, once accepted and shown and confirmed by them they've received it, we release the blueprint worldwide. We will not give advantage to one nation or the other. Once the American government confirms as what they call the first nation on this planet has received the technology on behalf of the present governments of the planet, then the citizens of the planet become entitled to the knowledge. We are not afraid to release it. We will release it. We are still fine-tuning the last stages of it, and then we release it within days. You have to understand a simple thing. We are here to change all the mistakes of the past, and change what we call self-appointed people and the families who thought they have the right to rape, to kill, and destroy to whatever they will. There shall be no king, and there shall be no presidents. We all are the same. We are all the king of our life, and we are presenting, and we are the president of our own destiny. It will take time, but this way I chose nobody is vulnerable. Because now people will deliver what they need at the point they need to their families, to their nations. And I don't think there was any other way to do it but this. We had no choice. We had to educate millions of you that you understand the process. Now millions are educated. There is no way, no man will accept another man to be higher than him, as he will have everything he needs. We have seen the production of material from energy from Peter in Austria in the past 48 hours. We see with this system, as you have a free energy running, the simplest way is to make a coil that it freezes the moisture, and you have as much water as you need, clean water. The food will come through different energies from the same system. You have to understand, extend your knowledge. If a hairdryer uses different energy, if a fridge uses different energy, if the light is using different energy from the same source, so the plasmatic energy within this source is within the boundary and the limitation of the life of the man too. I will teach you how to tap in. You're hungry, you touch, you receive energy. You will never eat food again. This process is needed, and that we can change and take the shackles of control of food, water, and energy. The next step for us is not to fall in the traps of military. So we disarm the emotion of the man from the angle of the war. So there shall be peace. For the next few weeks, I deliver these step by step. I teach you and you do. I explain. Peter understood. Deliver the matter. Explain, understood. You can receive. Be that pot of gold in the middle that created gold. Be that pot in the middle of the system. And you wish what you want. You become the intermediary, and your wish and your hand becomes what you call the deliverer. You will stand in the middle of the system the way we've seen with Peter, and you wish from the energy of the two, you can produce aluminium, gold, food, water, whatever you need. So you see, we have come to a full circle. Man's history changes, and the book of history starts new cycle as of today, and tomorrow we deliver it. You have to understand, if a nation calls itself the superpower, the world leader, the most strongest man, he needs to receive it, to understand it, that the rest of the nations and the leaders he represents, as he is the first president and the first lady and the first nation, he can tell to his subordinates, I have received the demise of our leadership. There shall be no king, there shall be no president, because we all conduct ourselves according to what it should be, that is peaceful for the others. Now you understand, as I said, how I have brought you to the slaughterhouse of freedom. The slaughter, the animosity and the greed of the past, to the freedom of what this technology brings. I have to tell you one thing, and that is, my wish is my command. I have carried out my wish. Douglas, would you like to join us and tell us what's happening and when you're going to start? Okay. Is there anything addition we can do to the what we need to have? And we can start the process. We leave the lines open. Nothing will be done, nothing will be done. When he starts, we leave the channel open till tonight when they arrive. We shut down, and tomorrow we start 131st workshop. Around about, I presume, it's about 2 o'clock Central European time when they will start their way into Washington. We have people in the background trying to organize everything in Washington that the material can be done. We will stay in Washington till we receive the confirmation. The Keshe Foundation team will not move from Washington till the technology, does not matter who they have, to come and confirm the energy is correct, and we start the process. We leave this channel open. The live stream might be quiet. We just put something in the background to show it's running, and you can pop in anytime because the process of change has already started. The Zoom live stream will run, will not stop. We done this, as I said yesterday before, when we were having tests, and we're showing the maglev systems, the development of the creation of 129 Tesla. So you can pop in, you can go out, you can join on the Zoom. When Douglas is ready, he'll announce it is. You don't need to be on the line all the time. You want to be. He progresses, they will sing, they will dance, they will share knowledge on the way, but we have to understand the process is very simple. This is the journey of the man from where he starts to where he lands, and then we start a new cycle, a new book. Maybe it's time to bring one thing on the table. Is the plan to bring peace with this technology? In a few days' time, I release the defense technology to 3 nations, which means I allow the governments to paralyze each other's military forces. Then I increase to 5 nations within minutes, which means we stop any progress in military. The nations which I'll deliver this technology to are very simple. First will be the nation of China. Then it will be delivered to Russia. At the same time as Russia and China, Iranian government will receive the information and technology. Then we share knowledge with Japan. And last, we share knowledge with the United States of America. We have to bring a condition that they realize they have no forces to fight. Simultaneously, I share knowledge with Ghana Atomic Energy Center. We move straight directly into the government of India and Brazil. So we bring a balance. My prime target is the delivery of peace through the change of soldiers, mentality, and disarmament of the whole, what we call mechanical warfare. So in the coming time, we directly deliver the, in a way, disarming of the militaries directly to the governments. We have all the channels to do so, and we'll show them how it's done. This stops what is planned in the South China Sea immediately, because all the American naval forces will be paralyzed within hours. We'll go through a step-by-step of development of the technology with the Chinese. The same will be done with the Iranian, the same will be done with the Russians. And when we achieve the total paralysis of the most aggressive nation in war, then we decide if we share the knowledge with the United States or we decide to share with another state in Europe. The most natural progress for us is the state of Italy, but we have to see. So we declared our position. We let the system arrive, and if there is any hint to block it, as I told you, we release it. Then within the next 2 or 3 weeks, we see the crash of the oil and the end of the present economy. There's going to be a harsh time, we know that. But if you understand it, the harshness comes if you don't have food, if you don't have energy. The harshness comes if you don't have water and you don't have shelter. Very rapidly, after the crash of the present structure in the next few weeks and months, we will start teaching you how to protect, how to feed. You don't have a worry, because what is the essential things you have on the table. Then there is no need for riots, and we ask you one thing, to stay correct in conduct. I was called, there is a time for need of change, and we have delivered the change. The space technology will be on the back of the piece. Very rapidly, we'll pass the technology to begin with to the Chinese government through access portals we have, that the whole structure of the South China Sea with the wars planned there to be stopped. We share knowledge with Russia to stop the Crimean War. We share knowledge with Iran to secure the Middle East from any armed movement. And then we are secure enough to move. Then, if we get agreements from the American government that they will change the pattern of production of arms, we share knowledge with the American government. So we are taking all the weapons away before we start talking peace, because that's the only way we realize we can speak to the American nation. We gave a chance many times, and it was taken with a deaf ear. Now you'll find out very soon there'll be hundreds of thousands of people unemployed, millions of people unemployed in the United States who are in the arm industry. We have no choice. We are there to create you misery, but we have to stop you creating so much misery around the world. That's the only way I see it. The same with Western Europe. All the military targets, military manufacturing systems rely on electronic. And this system is fantastic. This is a Maghreb system to interact. And now you understand there shall be no war. Because at the moment we are back to the spears and the hammers and the stone, all of us. And then we have to see if you would like to stone each other or hammer each other, or make, as was our ancestors, with arrows chasing each other. We are back on the same boat. We leave the channel open, and this is the only way we can do. If you want to share knowledge correctly, the channels are open, otherwise we block you. As you see, the title is One Planet, One Nation, One Race. Plasma energy in exchange for world peace. We are delivering the first plasma energy unit to the President of the United States. It is so simple that even the President can make a plasma generator in the Oval Office for free. We arrive on the 14th of August, and there is nothing which can stop us. And if they do, we release it faster. So the best thing is for the American whatever to make sure we arrive safe, we show safe, and we deliver safe. Any questions before I go? And we leave the channels totally open. It'll be manned in the background. You can share knowledge, you can talk, and you can tell your piece. as long as it's correct and starts with solutions for peace, not criticizing the peace, because now we are the solution makers. Any questions?
I just remind the viewers that they can put up their hand if they would like to speak or ask a question, and I can promote you to a panelist that way.
Is there a way to phase the current leaders into the process of transition to make it easier?
Who is speaking? When you speak, please declare who you are, where you are from, please.
This is Mark Erb. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm wondering if there's a way we can phase the world leaders in so that they participate with the transition.
They will do. There is no choice. You have to understand, I always said, businessmen make the politicians because they decide how much business the presidents and the kings will have. Now we are all in the business of peace, so we dictate. They follow. There is no choice. The beauty of it is when we release the production of the generator, we still go and produce, the Keshe Foundation will still produce the generators, we still deliver the generators. But we allow those who want to do, will do. The production of energy will force the government. We will see the new summits which are coming up, the opening of the United Nations, will all be affected by the release of this technology. Is the introduction of the new 6, what we call continental councils, which will dictate the position of the change. Not the present, because they always try to cover themselves in one way or another. I have no trust in no one except trusting that I want to deliver peace. That should be in the logo of every man, that I trust myself, that I want to deliver peace, I will deliver peace, and I don't have the trust in the old because they're always twisted in a way to have something on top. They will change. There is the point will come very soon. Two choices we go. We go through total chaos, absolute chaos for a short time, or we go through a time when the governments will take charge to go through the transition. They have to. There is no choice. When I release the development of the energy units, and you all can do it, do you need a government to give you energy? When you can know how to make food and whatever, you can produce as much as whatever you need. We've seen the beginning of it, and we will deal with a bunch of people who understand it. Then what I call there is no need for world leaders to play the game they have played up to now. There is a big problem. The problem sits not with the world leaders. It sits with who's behind what dictates the move. But most of these people who dictate what the presidents do sit within the world of finance, sit within the world of control of money. We take those away. They can have gold as much as they like. The point which is going to come, which is that's why I asked for the One Nation Police Force to be set up by the people who are expert in this job, is to bring in all the presidents and the kings who have done wrong. Literally, in the coming weeks, you will see a large number of world leaders behind the bar. They will walk in themselves. People will bring them in, not us. You will see the books open up. We've seen the Panama files. We've seen the others which has opened up. The files will open up like nothing. They will walk in. I have made it very clear. The one nation police force have power over any other rulers or anything else. And you will see what I mean when we deliver. There'll be no battles and no wars and whatever. We make these people to walk in and hand themselves over and tell what they've done. I was told in the past few days, why don't you speak about the situation with a possible, doubtful future President of the United States, Hillary Clinton? We all know what was the outcome. We all know how it happened. We know she's mentally not in a position after the stroke she had, landing in Ahvaz airport, to be in the position of leadership. It's very clear. You put a man into prison, man brings with his peace the end of yours. Go back. I was arrested in Canada. 11 days I was told every day I'll be shot killed. They didn't keep me in Canada. I was such a stupid scientist. The Canadian had much better, so they sent me back to the people who they planned my arrest and everything else, back to the hand of the wolves in Belgium. And then you have to understand what happened. Months later, we delivered the USB stick and the wolves went to bite. American government asked for the key, and in that key condition we put the hand of peace. I did, and we know what happened. Clinton landed in Ahvaz airport, the plane crashed and she went through a head injury. And today we see consequences of that accident. All been explained with us in past 2-3 years. It's nothing new. So we already see there is an end to any presidential seat. All the seizures we've seen, all the conducts we've seen is the byproduct of the brain damage. And it was what caused to them, to us, it was a natural process of the soul's balance. This is what they will learn. There are kings who done so wrong and they're waiting, they think they die and it dies with them. Before they die, they will see their own, what they call judgment. The problem is not us anymore. The problem now sits among themselves, how to save their lives from what is about to come to them by themselves. Don't waste a minute of energy to do something, to do it. Develop fast. They walk in. The best solution for us is to disarm United States Army, Navy, and Air Force, but not harming a single American, not harming a single person. Just disarm the tools of war. That's all it is. If I take the bullet out of a gun, the gun is nothing but a battery. If I take the control system of an intercontinental missile, which is not there to function, is what it is in the ground, another root, another piece of metal. This is what we are offering. But at the same time, after that, we offer the same to the United States, that the others don't become superpowers, because nobody will be super over nobody. I walked and talked the peace. Now we deliver the peace, and you will see how fast we move. Anything happens to the process of what we planned, We release more and more energy, more and more systems that it forces peace. For the first time, man takes charge over his own destiny than being told what to do. We don't need governments because we don't need to be governed, because each one of us governs his own conduct. There will be a mayhem, there is no doubt about it. Free energy, people making gold, people everything else, taking the fools who don't understand. But very soon, next 6 months, 10 months, whatever, people will start understanding there is a balance, there is equality. It's like people who've been waiting to win the lottery. Now they win the lottery, they go on the mayhem for a while, and then they settle down because everybody has everything else. We have to set up a new structure. People who sit in the background with the Keshe Foundation come up with solution. How this structure has to be just, fair for black, white, American, Chinese, Iranian, anybody, because we're all one family. Would you not feed your son if you're feeding the other? Or do you feed whatever it is equal to all of them? Medias, get in touch with, teach as much as you can. I have enough to live. I don't need to take more. This is one thing you understand, and I'll explain many times. I have closed all the accounts of mine. I like to have a cup of tea. My foundation pays for it because you allowed me to support the foundation to do, and whatever I earn from the foundation goes back in the foundation. This is how all of you got to understand to work. There are no banks in the universe, no churches, no mosques, no central intelligence, nobody spies on no one. Because nobody wants to be higher. The problem with us is, as humans, we allowed ourselves to be lower than the others, that they took charge over us because we accepted the submission. By beating, by murdering, by killing, by blood, in the past centuries and thousands of years we done. I wrote a paper some time ago, and if you understand what I mean, then you understand the rest. In the Iranian Revolution of 1979, not a single Iranian killed another Iranian. They were all killed by the Palestinians who were brought in by the British to kill as much, create mayhem and blood that frightens a peaceful nation into submission. And this is how it's been the pattern. You see the pattern in Syria, you see the pattern in Libya, you see the pattern now in South Asia. By blood and killing, you bring people to submission. Now, what for? We change the position. People will not do, there will be no arms to kill. This has been the pattern of the British monarchy. By fear, you rule. Now the fear is back into their desk. The same thing has been with the Vatican. The same has been with other religious leaders, that same other rulers of the world. Now we don't do anymore. We don't kill. We see what happened in a stage with Vietnam. People walked away. They went to prison, not to fight, and they became the winners. Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay is one of them. I'm not prepared to fight. Doesn't matter what you do. But I now have a technology which can change your mind. And then you confess to your own crimes. We don't need to change the world leaders. We go straight, they have nobody to lead because we know how we do. This is the beauty of it. Don't plan what we're going to do. Plan, change your state of mind. These are the things which I'm going to do correct to bring in, to be able to deliver this and this. And it will come, it will change. I wrote something to Arma this morning, and I'll read it to you, maybe you understand. He was worried that there was no time. You did this too quick, this sending of Douglas to Washington. I said to plan mean to get involved in organization of physicality. To wish and transmit your wish with your soul is the start of all. And physicality will manifest itself in the shape that the environment would allow it to be good for the time and the space. Now you may understand more. It is your wish that has started and ended the process. The act of physicality is the manifestation of the soul of the environment that the wish has been designated for. The wish to take shape. I wish it, and it's the soul of the planet. If it is ready, will accommodate it. I do not think of problem as these are not part of my soul motion. We see how things turn out, and either way, it is the soul of the man and the planet that will allow for us to see the outcome tomorrow, which when we go to the White House, to see if the man is ready for new birth from today on. You shall understand one day. When we wish peace and we make the facilities for it, if the planet is ready, if the human race is ready, not those who think that the leaders will take shape or will come and will manifest itself. So I'm not worried about the world leaders. As you know, one of these world leaders, what I call charlatans, the kings, ex-kings, have gone to the extent to put the Keshe Foundation as, which is the most advanced scientific organization, as a terrorist organization. And they have put Warren as a terrorist and what do you call it? As a terrorist organization. We have the documents, we are not talking. I published this, then you know what's going on, what we have been working in the background with. You are all that went today we delivered the energy into the White House, you're all terrorists now because you're part of the Keshe Foundation. The terrorists called the people of science terrorists that they can carry on with terror. Now they have to look for a position. We know tomorrow at the White House there is nobody there. As I said yesterday, it's symbolic because they're irrelevant. Who is in that building is irrelevant. In the coming weeks, you will see people will burn down all the palaces and the presidential places because we have no need for them. They have been nothing but the burden on humanity. For one to be the better than the others and I decide what I want to do. For one to kill children just because of his mental state of dementia, of doing everything else, and you will find out they claim insanity. I was insane, I didn't know what I did. Somebody sent me a picture to show. We sent it to Rick. It shows when we are there what will happen, but it has a lot of truth in it in a joke way. Every effort will be made to stop this process, but you understand, we want them to stop this process. They have two choices and both ends in the same place. Tomorrow we deliver this technology to the White House. If they stop the process, the whole world will get it. If they accept it, because they accept it, they have to show it to the world. We still get the whole world seeing it. It's one bullet, and that bullet will land in the end of kingship, leadership. Because then they have to find a solution. This process is here. We have put a lot of backups. There is a lot of number of places we will flood the internet with the design. And this design still is getting upgraded. That's why we're holding it back, that we give you the fastest way to go through. And then what happens? They have nothing. The energy crisis will hit like nothing. If I release the design now, by tomorrow when Douglas will get to uh, Washington, price of oil will be in cents. We are trying to find a compromise, a time of transition, very short, maximum 30 days. Maximum 30 days. Because the hardship will reflect back on our own families too. We sit, we secure our position, but at the same time, we speak from the point of strength. We become the most powerful scientific organization on this planet with one aim, peace. The only people who will stop are the people who see what they've been using, abusing, has come to an end and they're not prepared. We will see kicks and shouts and shovels. No problem. This is my instruction to all the people in the background. With those of you who are aware of the design, the pattern. In case anything happens to me, to Douglas, is your obligation on understanding such a thing has happened. You get a green light from me or Arman, you release the design. You release the technology in full. This is my wish. This is what I ask you to do. In case we see any resistance, as long as I'm alive, as long as Douglas is carrying on with his work, and we can deliver and it gets accepted and is accepted fully, do not release anything. If anything happens to me or Douglas or any of you become aware of, flood the internet. You have the blueprints and 6, 7 of you all know that. I have spread the blueprint in 4 continents. If you see anything, unless the worldwide network shuts down, flood it. Free the man. My life is not important. Release it, teach it. By tomorrow night, every man will have an energy system. Teach how to make water, teach how to make materials, and develop it. Make yourself independent. We have no choice but to change. As I said, it could have been a long-term draw up. We could have planned, we're going to bring this in, go papers, do everything else in 2 weeks' time, and get them all planning what they've done with Tesla and the rest to silence it, or a sharp, short end of the presidentialships and the kingship. We are not delivering an energy unit. We are delivering a bullet into the heart of leadership of this planet. Does not matter in what form or shape. We do not need this. We do not need them. But we give you a transition time. First time I gave 2 years to the government. This time I give 30 days. And if anything happens to stop, we release the blueprint. Put it this way, we've all been abused so much, we have nothing to lose, do we? Don't be afraid. The palaces and the presidential offices will be vacated very, very quickly because the oil companies find out they can't sell oil. The food chain and people who control the food and dump food in the seas to keep a market running will have no say. I'm here to change and I deliver my change. We're not talking, we are going to do it, we already have it. We have the technology. I think it's less than $10, you all can build it in one way or another. We need to create jobs. We need to create stability. We need to create the satisfaction of positiveness of every man. There should be only one prison on this planet. And that prison should be where the leaders and the rulers of the past have abused the humanity. Maybe we call it the zoo of leaders and let them alone in there to see what they do to each other as they've done to the others. The Universal Council and the world leaders, what we call the council, will decide on the position and the place. And I know many countries are prepared to offer an island for them to be the king of. As I said, we teach the president how to make the unit. And that's not for him to show to the world, for him to become equal like the others, that he can feed his family and look after them like a father does, that he doesn't need to accept no pressure from no one to abuse the others. I planned this for centuries, and now we deliver. Because if we don't do, the mayhem is much bigger. And it's the time. The time has come when we deliver it. This is just symbolic, delivering of the energy unit to the White House. And those who have the right soul are there. As I said, if you would have brought the unit from somewhere else, they would have said it's brought in. I nourished it, I supported it, I knew it was going to come, where it's going to come from, and it's right down the road in the United States. We will start leading ourselves, not others leading us. We have to be correct. We have to deliver. We have to understand what we do. Don't wait for somebody to show reaction. Most probably, they instruct nobody to go to show even this, but they cannot shut down the internet. They cannot stop you from buying energy and supplying energy to yourself. They cannot stop you feeding yourself when you don't need it, you don't want to spend money on it. Within a matter of months, everything collapses. And if you do it right, we should see a start of the collapse. If they release the technology, broadcast it out, you will see oil crisis will start. In fact, there is no crisis. The crisis for the oil companies, because now we start paying for the transition time what it should be.
Mr. Keshe, I can play that little 30-second video of the president and his speech. I think that's what you were referring to before, about oil and so on. You sent me the note.
There's a picture, he's jumping over the fence. I thought that was very funny.
Oh, no, this was his, this was his speech. Said he says, so we invested in wind, we invested in solar, and so on.
Yes, that's a good one, please. You
Okay.
understand this very, very easily. This is, as long as no copyright on it.
Yeah, I don't believe so. It's from his speech, and I've cut it out. I believe it's okay to broadcast that.
Okay.
Okay.
This is from the United States President, now you understand.
I don't know if the audio is coming through there. Just a minute. Will I readjust it?
No audio.
Okay. Try it this way.
This is what he wished. That's why we are giving it to him this way. You will
So we
understand.
invested in wind, we invested in solar, we invested in biomass. We're all about increasing energy efficiency and finding new, renewable, clean sources of energy. We don't yet have the technological breakthroughs that can completely replace fossil.
Actually, I think that is part of a copyrighted thing, so I don't want to play that. It had some music in the background. I didn't realize it was, I thought it was just a straight speech, which is part.
Okay. Can you take the speech out, write it down and put it there?
Yes, I can say what he said, absolutely. And I can type, print it out here right away. Let's.
Yes, print it on the screen, share the screen and print it.
Okay. Just 1 second here.
I just saw somebody ask if we got a permit for the Washington. Our people in the background are talking directly into the White House. We have people who have the connection in that line. It says, would you like to read it, please?
Sure. It says, President Obama said, I believe this was a few years ago, 2010, he said, so we invested in wind, we invested in solar, and we invested in biomass. Where it's supposed to be we, somebody made a mistake there in the, let me just correct that. We are all about increasing energy efficiency and finding new renewable clean sources of energy. We don't yet have the technological breakthroughs that can completely replace fossil fuels. And let somebody here invent something tomorrow which would be very helpful. And if you have it, let me know.
That's why we are going to the White House. We're going to let him know we are here.
Yeah, and I believe that was in the main speech that he gives to the
Yeah, it reads, let's read, just something just come in, I just read it on the notes. Don't forget that this channel is open. It says, yes, we have a permit. Would you like to explain to us, Mark Erb, please, what permit you received?
Yeah, we got a permit for 25 people to share information on the mall for an hour and 15 minutes. And we could show a video demonstration or photographs only. They do not want me to bring any hardware because they think it's a safety threat.
Arman, you're in the background. Can you tell us what's our present position in respect to the hardware? Is Arman there? Is he awake or he went to sleep? Okay, our present position is that our connections within the structure of the government, especially through John Kerry, our attorneys in the state have opened the channel, and that it'll be received in the White House or through the White House. We've been given assurances the move is complete. You have to understand, we have one of the top attorneys in the United States working on this level for us. And we have direct access to the White House through our attorneys. We have one of the top attorneys in the US. They are working on it. They've been waiting for a video to see a second video. The first video they wanted in open. The video has already been submitted in the past hour or so, and the facilities are made with our connections with Colonel Hankey and the others in the background who have access to the White House for the technology to be received. So even if it takes till Monday, Tuesday, we stay put in Washington to see it through. And any demonstration, because the people at the White House a couple of days ago wanted us for the Yale University to check this, that is correct. And I saw it as a delay tactic, and that's why we start a move.
I'm hoping.
Yes.
I'm hoping that someone will contact me about noon and tell me how to get Douglas in the back door.
We don't need to go through the back door. We're working directly. It will be nice to know if you have the connection, but our attorneys are at the highest level with direct access to the White House, what we call leadership.
I just mean escondido.
What do you mean?
Just so they're not afraid of a whole bunch of people running in.
No. The way it's done is very, very correct. This is how we delivered the peace message a few years ago to the White House. The thing is, this is hardware. We have to understand presidential security. Anybody can do these things, but we have people in position that we're waiting for this video, which was taken by Douglas. They asked it to be given or taken in a specific place that they could see it, because the first video was submitted, they understood it, and the second video was submitted less than an hour ago, the way they wanted it, so that they see there is no danger. It's a new technology, and in either case, we have people literally running in the background to see this can be handed over, not handed over, to be shown. We are not leaving any units behind with the White House. As I said, if the president likes, we show him how to make it, and if he likes, he can bring the camera in the Oval Office and get his hand dirty. And maybe you might understand when I said he might stay as a third term, because with this, all the people who were influential in the election of American policy making, who's going to be the next president, have no say anymore. We'll be in disarray in the total presidential elections. And unfortunately, there is no choice. And we see it. There's a high possibility that there won't be. The people who finance who's going to be the president are the oil makers and people who control the wars. Now we take their tools away from them. They have nothing to say. In so many ways, it was the only solution. It's the only way you can change such a deep-rooted structure to take its legs away, which is based on. We don't need to borrow money from the banks anymore because you produce enough gold. How we're going to restructure it, it depends how the totality of the human race decides on what terms we're going to carry on. Because now we can print any paper as good as anybody else, and we can produce any material. We have to plan a new structure. And we are not going through the back door. We are powerful. We go through the front door to replace the president by literally man of peace of the council. It'll happen in the next short time coming. But the peaceful way, we don't need to. We are not terrorists. We are scientists. We are the new age scientists of the new plasma technology. We know the know-how. Any other information? Do we see Douglas in the background yet? Has he managed to have the people arrived yet that he can start his journey?
They just let us know that they're probably about 15, maybe 20 minutes away. So
that's nice to know. Douglas, I hope you heard me. Under no circumstances share the knowledge.
Of course, sir.
Okay. You keep it till we don't need to explain anything. The unit is on the table. You've done a beautiful video. We see it. I've seen it. It's what they wanted to show, that there is nothing connected to it. We keep this video as it's been asked for the White House at the time being, for the time being. Do not make any move unless you receive instruction directly from Brett. Brett is moving from Miami to Washington today.
Yeah.
The only person you receive instruction, the only person you receive what to do in respect to the White House comes only from Brett and Armin. No other, no other. These are the people, the connection between us and the White House connection. And are the only people who tell you what to do, what needs to be done. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So the only person you're answerable to is the head of the foundation worldwide, which is Armin, and Brett as the head of the security organization in the background, the contact with the White House. No other instruction, no other move. And I'm all the time, 24 hours on reach. We decide, we discuss with our security people in the background. Armin has a direct access, so does Brett. Decision made within the White House will be given to you by Armin and Brett. Armin, as the head of the foundation worldwide, has the right and is right to negotiate if I'm not present. Secondly, Brett has a direct connection with the White House. We stand by because that's the only channel. Do not make any move, do not discuss, do not show unless you're asked for by Armin or Brett, and it has to be, as long as we are here, we approve. You understand?
Yes, sir.
You don't hand nothing over unless Armin tells you he's flying in from Los Angeles tonight. Brett is flying in from Miami, and everything is in the hand of Armin. He makes the final decision on the ground.
Excuse me, Mr. Kesh. Mark Erb is wondering, can he get a copy of the video in case he
No.
needs it?
No.
Even with his demonstration at the at Washington?
For the demonstration, yes, that's not a problem, but we don't want, this is a normal video, but they asked it to be outside. Because the video we released to them was inside, so they wanted it to be outside to make sure there is nothing behind it.
So will that be released to the public in the next little while, or?
Yes, we will do. Let the White House decide. We have to sit in the background. We have to sit. There are moves made. There are a lot of political moves made. We're talking to the Chinese in the background. The Chinese want a copy, urgent. The Russians have asked for a copy. My government, the Iranian government, is standing by for a copy because it's going to affect a lot of people. It's going to affect a lot of. We have to understand the chaos this thing is going to cause.